This is what we'll make at the end of this video. We have a character that can move, that can look around, up and down, and can rotate anywhere he wants. So let's get started. Hello, welcome to this YouTube channel. Today we are going to make a simple 3D character movement. So first let's start by right-clicking here, then create C# script and call it player movement. Then open it up. So first let's get rid of these functions and define a few variables. First we need to see if we are able to move. So public bool can move equal to true. And the next thing is that we need an access to character controller. So public character controller, we call it player controller. The next thing is that we need a camera. So let's say I'm just gonna make a header here. It's for more organized code and inspector. So a camera. So here we say serialized field, private camera, player camera, and then a variable for mouse sensitivity. So let's say public float mouse sensitivity equal to 5. And then something else, private float for X rotation, and it would be the initial rotation of our character. The next thing is that we need different parameters for like the speed of the character. So let's make a header, and this one is for walking speed. So walking params. And here we define a public float walk speed. Let's say 4f is good, I think. So first I'm going to define a function called move, private move, and private void move. And let's say first we need to see if we can move. So if can move is false, this one means if the boolean is false, let's say return. So if it's false, we are not gonna do anything. But if it's not false, let's define a vector 3 called move direction equals to transform.right multiplied by input.getAccessRaw horizontal. So basically it handles if we press A or D on our keyboard, so it will go left or right. Plus transform.forward multiplied by input.getAccessRaw vertical. So this one handles if we press W or S to go forward or backward. So the next thing is that we should say player controller dot move. We pass move direction, and we pass the walk speed, and then we pass time dot delta time, because we're gonna use this move function update, and we have to call time dot delta time, so the frame rate will not affect our movement. In this function we say that we want to move in this direction with this speed, and this one is for the update. The next, so let's here make update and call move function here. So now the character can move. But the next thing is that we have to control our camera with the mouse. So let's call a function. Let's make a function called public void handle camera. So the first thing is that we have to calculate the X rotation. So X rotation minus equal input dot get axis mouse y multiplied by mouse sensitivity. And then I'm just gonna explain all this when it's done. So X rotation is equal to math f dot clamp X rotation and minus 90 and 90. The last thing is that player camera dot transform dot local rotation equals to quaternion dot Euler X rotation and 0 and 0. Okay, to explain all this, first we would say that if you move our mouse up or down, we want our player to look up and down. So X rotation is for this one. We decrease the input that get axis mouse y, which basically means if our mouse moves up or down, it'll return a number between -1 and 1, and then we'll multiply it by mouse sensitivity. So the more sensitive our mouse is, the more it will rotate. So we will save it in rotation, X rotation. But there's a thing, we can't look more than 90 degrees up and 90 degrees down. So we will clamp it by math.clamp X rotation minus 90 and 90. And the last thing is that we call our player camera on its transform, and then local rotation is equal to quaternion Euler X rotation 0 0, which basically means that it will rotate it around x-axis, as you can see here. And we use local rotation because we're gonna make the camera the child of our player. So let's call handle camera here, and I think we're good to go. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is to look right and left. So we're gonna make float y rotation equals to input dot get axis mouse x multiplied by mouse sensitivity. So this one will get the input for mouse going right or left. And then we are going to say transform dot rotate vector new vector 3 0 0f y rotation and 0. So this one will handle looking left and right. And the next thing we need to do is to lock our cursor in the middle of the screen. So here we say private awake cursor dot lock state equals to cursor lock mode dot locked. So this one will lock our cursor in the middle of the screen when we want to play a game. So let's save and go back to Unity. Back in Unity, first we're gonna make a plane so our player has a place to walk on. I'm just gonna increase the size 3 by 3, and then I'm gonna create an empty game object. I'm gonna call it player, and then drag the main camera under it, and then make a 3D game object capsule, and I'm just gonna drag player a little bit up so it can walk. Then press F to focus on it. Then I'm gonna click on camera and reset its position, and then I'm just gonna drag it a little bit up because we want to see from the head of the player, not the body. Here I think it looks good in my opinion. Now on player, let's drag player movement script and a character controller. In here we have two fields that we have to fill. First one is character controller. We fill it here, and then we drag main camera onto this box. and we're now good to go. If you press on play, we can see that we can look around, up and down. We can not look more than 90 degrees in each axis, and then we can walk around, go right, left, and behind, forward, and we can look everywhere. In next part we are going to do jumping for our character. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, please let me know down in the comment section. And if you liked the video, please subscribe, and thank you for watching.